Hi, good day, everybody. This is Etienne Marcel Pertut, the Sports Inquirer, and welcome to another edition of Fighting Peaches. As the past few weeks, we have been previewing a lot of American football with the college football season on the horizon, but another season that is on the horizon starting very, very soon is collegiate soccer. And today we're focusing on Georgia State women's soccer. We're going to be playing our exclusive interview with head coach of the Panthers, Ed Joyce, as the Panthers do prepare for the 2025 campaign. Before we get to Ed, as always, to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership, thesportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video hosts, which include YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. As I mentioned, I was actually able to head down to the Georgia State soccer facility and able to speak with Ed Joyce exclusively as the Panthers prepare for the 2025 campaign. And let's hear from Ed. Enjoy.
Yeah, it's gone really quick. We've seen a lot of changes over time. Obviously, with the conference primarily and the level at which the league is at now is obviously a much different place than it was in 2016. But also within the program, going from Panthersville to having our own facility and stepping forward with that has been a huge improvement that we've had over time.
Yeah, and this season, we'll look back at last season, winning record in conference, uh, eliminated first round of the conference tournament on penalty kicks. Really tough way to see the season end. But what can you carry over from 2024 as you progress into this upcoming year?
I felt we were very resilient in 24 because I mean we were decimated with injuries in the first part of the season to key older players, which made it really difficult for us early on. But also looking back and now looking to the present, it gave a lot of our younger players opportunities and experience that hopefully they can build on this year, which I don't think they would have had as much of had we been at full strength for the first 6-7 weeks of the season. So I think that's the exciting piece is that we're looking at players that are here now, have had experience and know what the league kind of grind looks like once we get there.
Yeah, and how have you handled that? Just the overall outlook of the roster. Obviously, with the new rules of the past few years, roster turnover has become big. How do you think y'all handle that, and how's it been trying to incorporate just the overall unit together as a
I mean,
team?
that's our biggest challenge. I mean, we don't tend to lose many players to the portal in the past. Again, we had, before this last window, we had maybe an average of one per window. And then we had, obviously due to the roster management numbers given to us, we had closer to, 8 to 9, um, which meant we brought in, between eight and 10 players, some halfway through the year, some now. So I think the biggest thing is letting kind of the game bring it together naturally. Like natural team building is kind of what we're big believers in, and we'd also do some stuff that we predict and we dictate. But when the girls feel a lot more authentic or authenticity within that team building exercises, I think we see more success. So the training environment and winning, being competitive, is kind of what we try and do to bring people together.
Yeah, and you have been able to keep Aaliyah Fadal. She is a junior now, preseason All Conference and All Conference performer last year. What about just keeping her on the roster, just through this to turnover,
Mm-hmm.
but then also just seeing her develop into one of the best players in the conference, maybe the best in
Yeah,
some
I mean
eyes.
she's top three probably. I mean there's some good players in the league, and I think every year now we're becoming a much more of a destination league for players from whether it's transfers from Power Fours or internationals to kind of land at. So I think she's definitely talented. She's a great kid. She works hard. She'll be a captain for us this year. We have a good relationship, she and I, to whereas I think that helped. She obviously got her in a good summer environment too at Sport in Jacksonville, where she scored a lot of goals and was all league and attacking player of the year in that league as well. So um, we're excited for her. Hoping she can kick on. We always talk about like she's a 10, 12 goal a season goal scorer in our opinion, and we're really excited to see her try and pursue that.
Yeah, and I'm learning as just like the help of the teammates, just the other frontline players like Sania Tucker and Emily Glenn, just being part of that offensive unit to just not only her scoring more goals, but just more goals in general.
Yeah, I mean Sania is one of the ones we alluded to before that we had as a freshman that was forced into a big role last year, and I think it helped her. And now she's had another one come off a great summer league up in Richmond. But She's ready. I mean, she was, I think, one of the better players in the league. I think she's slightly underrated by others. I think she's underrated in her recruiting cycle as well, and she's gonna really kick on. Emmy's just like an energizer bunny for us. Like, she works extremely hard. She's always there around the ball, trying to win it back for us, and is honest. You can't really be upset with her when she makes mistakes because everything is at 100 miles an hour, 100% effort, and we think the game rewards people that do it that way.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll stick with the midfield. We know that Brooke Nelson, who's also a team captain, just named, she's a returner for you, big contributor. But what about her and just the rest of that midfield? And just, I always look at the midfield as kind of that transition. Everyone looks at either scoring goals or stopping goals.
Yeah.
But midfielders, they contribute to both. But
Yeah.
how's that unit looking overall?
Good. I mean, they dictate transition or not, and for us, obviously, we play a game that has tempo to it. Like, we don't want to go 1,000 miles an hour up and down and make the game transitional as much. But when we do need to go, we want to do it. And I think they're decision makers for us, and they have to be reliable. And I think that's probably where Brooke is the fittest kid on the team. She can run all day. She's a massive culture kid where she does everything right. And I think with young players coming in, all the turnover, that's her biggest role. She's not the most vocal kid in the world, but like, everyone knows the standards when she starts training. So I think that's kind of her role. Abby Kilman, I thought, had a great freshman year as well, and is going to be leaned on even further now with Elena Diaz being gone after obviously her 5 years here. So, and then we've got some new players as well. Karis Fraser's a freshman from Vancouver, Canada. We're really excited about her. Had a great pre-season. Nora Donaldson came in mid-year. A couple of transfers as well from the junior college ranks. I think will do well for us. So, the nature of what this is for a living, like, we get 10 days to figure things out, and then we've played 2 exhibitions already, and then we're playing our first game on Thursday, so we get 2 weeks, and the other sports within the NCAA get all summer, and then there's a much more of it's a bit easier for them to get themselves organised, whereas for us it's sometimes you don't even know your team properly until middle of September.
Yeah.
And the quicker we can get that done, the better off we'll be. But that's going to be the role of non-conference. Obviously, you want to try and win every game, but it's to get the group of players together and groups of players together that get us ready for the 10 games in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, you mentioned mid-season, so you will have players potentially joining the team. Is that just because of the paperwork transfer? Like, what's?
No, I say mid-season. I meant more January. Like, we had a kid come in January.
Oh,
so we had 4.
Oh, postseason.
Right, but
okay.
Then mid-year, I suppose, is a better phrase. But I mean, we've had a girl just showed up yesterday because of a visa complication.
Right.
So she's just now starting to train with the group. Okay. So we had another girl who came in a couple of days late, had to leave and come back. So a bit unusual. I think obviously the immigration stuff with the I-20s and the visas and the embassies has caused a lot of programs in the countries to be a more stop-start, and having to, introduce players into the group at a later stage.
Yeah.
Which is not ideal.
Yeah.
But sometimes I tell them, like, your friend in pre-season is freshness. So if you come late and you're fresh, it may actually benefit you. It's just kind of getting yourself assimilated into the group is a tough part.
Yeah, yeah. And then what about the defenders? I know you have Therese Brink back on the team.
There we go. Yeah.
You got that. But then also, it seems like the goalkeepers, they're just, how are you handling that? Is it a competition? Is there one that's emerged for you so far?
Yeah, with Therese being back, I think she's the best passer in the league. From the back 4, there's not another defender in the league that can do what she can do with the ball. I think for her it's always like the balance of, it's like, to use a basketball analogy, it's like Steph Curry. We know you can shoot from there, but should you in that moment? Like, that's kind of where we are with Therese. But I've got a girl coming in this year, Lily Sawyer. She's a freshman from down in Noonan, Georgia, who we're really excited for as a centre back position. Elise Nystrom's been with us 3 semesters, but was coming off a bit of a knee injury, so she's back in the group full now. So it's a lot of returners from the spring that did really well, so we're excited to see them kind of build. And there's going to be competition at every position that we have. I think that's the biggest thing we plead to people is, with 28 players, you're always close. You're a lot closer to playing than you were in the past when we had numbers for different reasons. But goalkeeping, Ari's been here 2 years. She was in almost every other team in the league. She'd have been the starter for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
She played behind Jay Foose, who was obviously just different, tremendous goalkeeper, older, more experienced, and Ari had the benefit of training with her and learning from her and from her successes and also Jay's mistakes over the years as well. She was able to learn from that, and she would be our one going into the season. But brought Cecilia Smith in last year, who's done a fantastic job developing, and obviously Alondra Iriarte came in this season as a transfer from Green Bay, and she's done really well. So our goalkeeping unit's in a good place that we feel like regardless of what happens, we've got a good solid base behind us.
Yeah, and once again here with Ed Joyce, head coach of Georgia State women's soccer. You mentioned the non-conference slate portion of the season. With all of the turnover you've talked about and on and off the field, well, you're not really off the field, just getting players in. How important is this non-conference? Like you said, you wanted to win every game, but it still sounds like you are still trying to figure out this roster and figure out this team with just the circumstances.
Yeah, I think that's everybody now. I think you look at it like across the country. I mean, we've probably had less turnover than most. I'd say we're probably about average maybe. But I mean, there's teams that are bringing in 17, 18 players to a squad and having to figure things out. So I think you're going to see, my opinion, you're going to see long-term teams playing 3 exhibitions instead of 2, whereas in the past people would play 1 exhibition maybe at times. And we played 2. Would have loved another one, to be honest. I think that would have helped us. But the non-conference slate is also like 1 game at a time. It's kind of how we attack things. Trip McConnell Thursday is a very good NAIA team. They get a national tournament every single season. Assistant coach used to be my assistant here, so I know how well they're trained and how well they're ready to roll. We've got Sanford, that'll be perennially NCAA tournament team from the SoCon. Furman as well have been up there. A couple, Kennesaw obviously being a local, kind of lots of the players know each other. Then you've got South Carolina and Florida, which we feel is a really good challenge for us to get ready for what's next in the conference. And obviously West Georgia, new to Division 1, we're excited to kind of start a rotation with them being down the road as well. So I mean, the 6, those 8 conference games, 6 of them being somewhat local, and obviously the 2 big Power 4 games for us are all designed to test us differently. And we feel it's a good balance, and hopefully it's an opportunity for us to play a lot of players and get to learn how they feel when they compete. Because I mean, as coaches, we don't love gamers. You want guys that train every day how they play. But it's a real thing. Some people, when the lights come on and the games get competitive, that's when they are at their best. So we're excited to see kind of those lessons that we can learn as a staff as the season goes on also.
All right. And we're here with Ed Joyce, head coach of Georgia State women's soccer. And with some fun questions here. What is your favorite stadium, besides obviously your home here at GSU, your favorite stadium to coach in that you've had the pleasure to be in over the years? You can name a few.
I've always liked Kennesaw's. I think obviously there's a purpose-built soccer stadium back in the day for the Beat, so that feels a little bit different. And then some places where we've just had really good games, like South Alabama is a very basic setup, but we just always had good games there, so that kind of rings true. And new to the conference, Marshall with their men's team being so successful, they've got quite a good fan support, so our girls get to play in front of between 500 and 1,000 people, which is unusual for them. This season going to South Carolina, I think that's one of the best playing surfaces in the country, so we're pretty excited about that. I'd say those are the ones that kind of stick in my head, just for experience, but also kind of the setup themselves.
Yeah. I would say favorite high school recruit that you've been able to retain, but it could be high school, but even an international player. What's the favorite, maybe someone that was undervalued but really trying to be a great player? Maybe someone you had to travel with planes, trains, and automobiles to get. What are 1 or 2 that have been just some good stories? Or
in the past, I think probably a really cool story was Jimena and Eva Diaz, because we actually recruited them both separately, believe it or not, using different kind of recruiting companies, and then had really good conversations with both, and then found out that they played on the same team and had done since they were like 8 or 9 years old and were from the same hometown. That was pretty interesting, just how you get to the end result. That was pretty cool. Sania's is really pleasing, because it's a kid that we felt was, quite frankly, maybe a little bit above the level for us at times, the ways that she performed, and then she just kept on being uncommitted, and we kept on kind of being persistent with that one. Emmy Glenn's a funny one because she was the first call we made after her sophomore year before her junior year on the June 15th, and wasn't interested, and then all of a sudden 18 months later we bring her in and she's committed in 3 days. But I mean, I think that's the ones that I think are the most fun are the ones that kind of aren't the easiest, and I think that's when you kind of place your value on them, because it becomes to more of a relationship development rather than a talent identification process, and that's the ones that I feel hit the ground running a little bit more because they know you a bit more and they know what you want and what the program expects.
Where's the furthest you've had to travel for a recruit?
Furthest I've had to travel, it's in Madrid, Spain. We're in Spain a lot.
Okay, so Spain.
Iceland's closer but feels further. We've been there as well. Yeah, Japan. Japan's going to be on the list, but I haven't been there yet. But that'll be the next one.
You're recruiting some talent in Japan.
We've got 2 players this year came from a junior college route that have done well for us so far in training. We're excited to see where they kind of land once the games start. But it suits kind of who we are, and I think it's something that we're going to try and get on the ground and identify some first-year players there as well.
Yeah, who's the best pre-college level player that you've seen just over the years?
Has come here?
Or just in general?
Probably Riley Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, she was and still is special. Jordan Dudley down at Florida State, I think, is another one that you just see, and she's just a bit different. And then we're way back when I was at Ohio, Emily Sonnet, when she was playing at NASA, obviously, was one that you just knew was just different. When she watched her play against the other girls, you're just like, she's a bit different, and I think you can see those. And then down to probably Trinity Rodman as well, playing for. Watch her play for SoCal Blues. You're like, who is that? And then you find out her dad's a 5-time NBA All-Star or whatever, and you're like, that tracks.
Yeah, these are national players, absolutely.
So,
and cup winners. Yeah, this is.
Well, that's the interesting thing about the girls' side is they all play. There is, but it's not like the MLS where they have their academies that are loose, that are very tightly connected. A lot of them play for youth clubs, so you see them play against the teams that we're playing against. So it's very much an eye-opener, I think, to parents of players whose kid is good, and then you see what great looks like.
Yeah.
and I think that's just, there's levels to every professional sport, right? So yeah, those would be the ones.
Yeah. I usually ask players this, but I'll ask you, what's your favorite uniform combination?
Oh, okay. I like the black one we have, it says Atlanta on the front, which I think is tells a story for me, because when I took the job in 2010 with Brett on the men's side as an assistant, and he called me, I really didn't know where Georgia State was. So I think for me, giving our kids the identity and letting them kind of claim the city is something that they hold value with is pretty cool. So, and the keepers one, I like the pink one. They're for the same reasons. I think it stands out.
It stands out. It
stands out. They like it. And again, it's kind of the same motif as the black one.
Yeah. And what's one thing in this current NCAA landscape you'd like to see get better, improved, or just work better upon?
I think the whole, I'd like to see the NIL, rev share, I'd like to see it clarified a bit for the players, because I feel like I don't really know what's going on, because every time we get a judgment, it seems as if it's final, but then it's not, so I just put myself in the shoes of a 16 to 19-year-old kid trying to navigate that. I have empathy for them, because that just seems really challenging to kind of understand what they can and can't do, or the disparity between, you're watching the SEC Netflix documentary and you've got a kid the same age driving a Lamborghini, and and they're not, so I think just a little bit as time goes on, receiving that clarity of kind of what this new landscape looks like is what I'd like to see for the players. For us, obviously, as well, but I always say, as adults, we're supposed to be able to handle adversity. Kids have to learn to. I think that's where I'd like to see some clarity regarding that. But and then I think the transfer portal is just it's like a growing natural document, isn't it? It's like every year it adapts and changes a little bit. I would like to see some balance with that a little bit and understanding kind of these are the rules. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. Again, for the players, more than anything. But yeah, I think it's just changed so much. You know, when I was a player, I couldn't do a private lesson with a 9-year-old because it was using my image, and I was like, well, no one cares about my image. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to make money to pay my rent, and I've not been able to do that. And now it's even more broad what you can do, but it is not quite defined enough. So I think I just want clarity for the players, I think.
Yeah, and then lastly, what's the best coaching advice you've received or even been able to pass along to the players that you help steward?
I think when I talk to other coaches and like young coaches we have in, the biggest thing is like you got to show them that you care about them before you can really hammer them. I think lots of young coaches navigating from players to coach is you've got to be tough. But I think the current group of players and the current generation of players, especially coming off of COVID, where they've already had some tough things happen. If you don't show them that you're caring about them, it's very difficult to kind of put the hammer down and say this is not good enough or that's not good enough. From the players, we always say like the bare minimum here is everything you got. If you give us everything you have and make decisions, we can coach poor decisions. It's really difficult to coach indecision. So like if you don't make a decision on the ball or don't make a decision to press or to not, I don't know what's in their head. I can infer, but like it's very difficult for us to know. So we tell them, be confident, have belief, give us everything you have, and make a decision. Because then we can say, right, that wasn't it because of this, that, and the other. As opposed to, it's really tough to ask a brand new 18-year-old to emote to me, what were you thinking in that moment? Because their response is, I don't know, because they don't want to be wrong. So we try and make them make decisions on the pitch where they're natural, and then it allows us to kind of just help them get up to speed and get where they want to be more quickly.
Man, Ed, thank you for the time. We appreciate it, and good luck this upcoming season.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
And that was Ed Joyce, head coach of Georgia State women's soccer. So grateful that he allowed us to visit the facility and to get a preview of the upcoming year. And it was a really good conversation, touching on all things on and off the field. So really hope you enjoyed listening and watching that as much as I enjoyed doing the interview. As always, to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership, to sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also head to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And finally, make sure you like and share our audio and video hosts, which include YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. And until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.